Hey everybody, Joey Ragona here. It is 2:39 right now, and I'm sitting here in my home office. Just finished a call with my Strategic Profit Lab group, and we were talking about funnels and fixing the marketing and fixing the process in how to get more sales or how to get consistent sales. And that's kind of what a lot of people are struggling with, that I find in my world, right? Where how do I get consistent sales from the list that I've already got? And even if you've got a smaller list, this is going to work for you. This is the process that I use and I teach with all of my clients and students all across the world that are inside my groups. So I just want to break this down for you, because I think that a lot of us like to overcomplicate this funnel process, right? And there's really only three components to the funnel process. And I just want to break those down for you. And you're probably going to, when I say this to you, you're probably going to be like, yeah, well, tell me something I don't know. But here it is, just so we're all on the same page, and then we can kind of filter out, or zoom in on the place that really needs work. Aside from the front end, which is the first piece of the funnel is the front end, there is one step before that, which is the advertising, right? The advertising and the marketing, okay? That's obvious. You have to drive traffic to the funnel itself, and however you're doing that is up to you. If you want to talk about that, or maybe ask some questions regarding how to bring people into your funnel, you can. But really what we're talking about is how do I get consistent sales from the people that are kind of already on my list, whether that's a big list or small list, whatever it looks like, right? So the thing is, you're driving traffic to it, and the best way to drive traffic is by paid advertising, Google ads, Facebook ads, whatever it looks like to you, okay? So I don't want to really focus on that right now. The second piece of the funnel, like I said, it's the front end, where you're driving people to that, which is the opt-in, where people are just giving you their information, right? I mean, that's typical. Then there's the middle end, then there's the back end, right? Go figure. There's a front, middle, and end to your whole funnel, right? Like, there's nothing grandiose here yet. But here's the deal, okay? A lot of people forget about the middle piece, and they totally, 80% or maybe even more, totally ignore the back end. Now, some people, I would say this 50-50, maybe 60-40, are doing the middle end. And what I mean by middle end are, liquidation type of stuff, where somebody opts in for something free, and then you offer them something low, low dollar to liquidate the funds that you've spent in advertising. That's kind of the middle process. A lot of people do that. And what I find is that that's the end of their funnel. They focus only on that. Let me get free traffic, or pay for the traffic that I've already got. Like, I spent $1 over here on traffic, and I want to sell them $2 over here and make money, or at least sell them $1 on the middle and get my dollar back, right? That's the whole philosophy about bringing people into your sales funnels, right? Nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong with it. But I find that too many people focus on that process alone. Bring people in, opt in, sell them something, get my money back, or make a little bit of money, right? And they totally ignore the back end of the funnel. The back end of the funnel is probably the most important thing, which is the follow-up. And you've probably heard before that the fortune is in the follow-up. And this is where I see a lot of people ignoring this process. So if you're here and or listening to this, maybe even on the recording, and you've got a challenge with your back end, then it's really within the follow-up systems that you have. And again, what I mean by follow-up systems is not a process where you're constantly hammering people with sales messages because they've got onto your list. And the reason that people usually ignore this process is because a lot of it won't work, right? 80% of what you're doing is not going to work, and it sucks, right? And so we give up. But the other part of it is that it takes time, because first of all, if 80% of it is going to fail, you kind of get down on yourself, and you're like, well, this is not even worth it. I'm going to go spend more money on the front end to get more people in to try and sell them, right? So I'm going to use the analogy of like fish in a pond, but I'm not totally saying that the people that you're bringing in are fish, right? They're not. But just the analogy is where you've put out bait to bring in fish into the pond rather than out in the sea, in the lake, where there's a whole bunch of them, but now they're in your pond, and then you totally ignore these people. Like they're swimming around in your pond over here. They're like familiar with the water. They're cool with it, and then you go out and try and find even more to bring in because you're just totally ignoring these people because they didn't buy from you, right? And that's where I see the process kind of breaking down. It's where you have to focus on the people that are now swimming within your pond, right? That are getting, they're used to the water. It's lukewarm now. It's cool, right? It's not, they're not out there. You don't. So that's where, if you understand that process, that if you put more of your energy into the people that you've already brought onto your list, that's where your consistent sales are going to come from. And it's not about just hammering people all the time with sales messages. And I see this constantly over and over again, right? So that's the tip I want to give you. And I just spoke about this, like I said, with my group. I made a whole bunch of notes here that I wanted to kind of go over with them. And I just wanted to share that with you, that, again, it's very simple. Don't overcomplicate the process of the funnels and all this other kind of stuff. Yes, there are components underneath each one of those, let's call it buckets. You know, the front end has, you know, is the front end a sales letter, or is it a sales video? Is it a quiz? Like, there's all kinds of different components there. Like, what is the actual mechanic or vehicle that you're using to bring people in? I get all that, but it's very simple. There's a front end. What is the way that you are getting people onto your list, right? I mean, there's list building courses and ways of doing all that. And then there's the middle end. The middle end is, and I'm totally guilty of this too. The middle end is where, you know, you're trying to test certain offers or make some money back. But that's not the only place to focus. If the middle end doesn't work for you, if an upsell doesn't work, or you're not getting your money back on the ad spend, sometimes that's okay, right? Sometimes you have to look at, or I shouldn't say sometimes, I would say all the time, you have to look at the customer value. What is a customer worth to you? And that's why the back end is so important, because if you're spending $1 or $5 or $10 or $20 to get a lead, and you can sell them a product that's worth $50 or $100, then how many times would you spend $10 to get a lead if you could sell them a $50 item? The answer is all day long, right? So I want you to really take the perspective of what you're actually doing in your business, in your online world. It's really great to have a front end funnel that's liquidating, right? Spend $1, get the dollar back, spend $1, make $2. That's what a lot of people will tell you is the ultimate system. And it's awesome, right? It's really great. But if you only focus on that and you fail at that, you're totally missing out on the back end. Because I know a whole bunch of people that only focus on this, and they've got thousands of people on their mailing list that they're totally ignoring. They're not doing anything with them because, well, they didn't buy over here. They didn't buy the promotion or something like that. And I'm like, you're missing the boat here, right? So those are the people. The back end, the follow-up system, is the most important piece of everything. And you have a conversation with these people. You have a relationship with these people, right? Because you got to understand that no matter who you are, you're not, if you're going to go to if you're bringing cold traffic in, or you're cold to something, you're not going to go plop down a whole bunch of money. And so just think about yourself, of how many times you want to go buy something, but all the research you've done before you've actually bought the thing, right? You've done it. So it's very rare, unless you're like me, right, where you just buy stuff because it looks good, whatever, right? There's very little people like me who just spend money, not doing a lot of the research. So, but most of people, right, the smarter people in the world, do a whole bunch of research online. Even if you walk in to buy a pair of shoes, Nike shoes or something, you've already done the research online. And even if you walk into the store and you go right to buy them, you didn't buy them like that, on a whim. You did all the research before. You already know what the shoes are and all that kind of stuff. But it looked like to that person or the salesperson that was an easy sale. This dude just walked in and bought. But they don't understand the process before that. So what I'm trying to say to you is, you were nurtured all by yourself. You did all that work for yourself. And so that's your job as a marketer, is to help people make that decision easier for you. Your hardest job is to get someone to trust you with their email address, with their information, and giving it to you. You know, it's very, very valuable. People's information or their email address is super valuable, but so many people abuse it. They just want to use it as, you know, a marketing tool where I'm just going to slam them with all these, you know, promotions, and then they don't buy, and then they don't care, and then they opt out, but then they're out there spending more money to try and get more people into the funnel, complaining about how expensive advertising is and all that stuff, right? I mean, it's really a process. And I've built my business based on focusing on the back end. It's not that I'm not advertising to get more people in, but I concentrate focusing on the back end, because that's where the follow-up, anybody will tell you that. Anybody who is worth their weight, you know, their word is worth anything, will tell you that the follow-up, everything is in the follow-up. That's why a lot of people don't do it. That's why there's a very small percentage of major successful people doing this stuff. So I focus on that, and because of that, I'm able to have a smaller list. I don't have to have a huge 100 million people on my list in order to make some money every single month, because I know there's more value within the process after, when I'm speaking to people, right? When I'm speaking to people and they begin to trust you, because that's what relationship is. That's what business is. I've been in business for a long time, and this is just another component. Online is just another component, just another marketing channel. And I used to use, you know, actual newsletters, like sending stuff out in the actual mail. Go figure, right? But there was a major relationship built with those newsletters, because when people would get the newsletters, and it's the same thing online, just figure this out, right? You're sending them a PDF or you're sending an email. It's the same thing. And then people would call and talk to us about whatever's in the email, or sorry, in the newsletter, and we would have a conversation, you know, a real conversation. And it's the same thing with email. I get a lot of back and forth two-way email conversations based on the stuff that I send out to my list, because they know that there's a real person sitting behind the desk sending them an email. It's not just a promotion. You follow? So this is what I really want to stress to you is again, I'm just going to wrap this up because I can go on forever here, but the front end of the funnel looks like this. It's the advertising that brings you to the three components of the funnel, which are front end, middle, and then back end. And the middle, like I said, are just simple upsells, maybe to a low dollar thing that you want to try and liquidate or get some of your money, your advertising money back. Because I get it, I understand that, you know, it's hard to put money after money in advertising, and you can't get anything back. And if the back end is not working right away, and it takes a couple of months to sell somebody, you need to fund, you know, everything. But then the back end, like I said, the back end is where, even if they don't take that middle offer, it's where you are nurturing people. It's where you are talking to people on a real basis as a real human being, offering them some really, really cool stuff and helping them out. Like, I mean, I can't say it any clearer. Your job as a online business is to help people. It's not to sell something. You sell something because you're helping people. They finally understand that you are there to help them. If all you're doing is have a business, an online business, just to sell something, then you're probably going to be focused, like I said, on the, you know, the front end stuff, where I didn't make any money here and I want to go out and make a whole bunch of money. This didn't work. This sucks, and all this other kind of stuff. And eventually you're going to burn out your list. Eventually, you know, I see a lot of people bouncing from the online world. If you focus on the right things, if you focus on just having the idea of helping people, truly helping people, then you will also sell product, because they understand that you can help them even further with your products and services. Okay, so if you can understand that mentality, your business will change. And the way you and where you focus that energy is on the back end, where those people who have not converted or bought something from you, when they've got on your list and you're like, oh, these guys suck. They don't suck. Like they did something over here. They have an interest, right? They've given you their email for a reason. And your job is not to be like everybody else and try to hammer them over the head with sales. It's like, okay, I know you have a problem with, you know, building your email list. What are your challenges? Let me help you with that. And then you help them, and then eventually they'll say, well, how can you help me even further? And that's where your products come into play. That's the process. mean, that's the process that I teach to all of my students, all of my clients. And as soon as we back away from being the salesperson, like the hard-ass salesperson, everything begins to change, okay? So hopefully this was helpful to you. If you got any questions, doesn't look like I have any questions, but I got some really cool, hey guys, hey Jay, hey Rob, Aziz here, Charlie Lee, hey Sarah, Meg, oh, this is awesome. Thanks guys for being here. If you're still here, it's great that you're here live watching this. And if you're watching this in the recording and you got a question, hey, post it in the comments and I will answer anything that you have regarding your funnel, marketing, whatever that looks like, as much as I know. If I don't know it, I'll tell you I don't know anything about it, but I can help you out as much as possible with your sales process. Okay? Hopefully this was helpful. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.